Alright, yan. Magandang araw mga kabatas natin at welcome sa isa namang live stream. Mga kabatas natin, bago tayo tumungo dun sa text ng Sotto at saka yung balita noong panahon, September 25, 2019, mga kabatas natin, around that time, 2019, kung saan na-enact itong expanded Sotto no? Pakinggan muna natin ito, mga kabatas natin, kung ano yung sinabi dito. Kaya lang ito kasi sa ANC 24/7, an abuse of power, Representative Pimentel cites basis for house detention of Celiz, Badoy, ANC. Actually, sinight naman na yon, no? Pero ito yung tanong kasi nila doon, nagkaroon ba ng abuse of power? Okay? Tapos nakalagay dito, no timeline on how long Celiz body will be detained. Hindi totoo yun, may timeline na. Napag-usapan natin yon. Maybe they really didn't understand what the motion was. Pero the motion was, they will be detained until the adjournment of the committee hearing or until the adoption of the report, committee report. Okay? Hanggang doon lang yon. That's the maximum. So hindi tama dito yung sinabi nilang no timeline on how long Celiz body will be detained. I showed you the Supreme Court decision already. Okay?
Pimentel, I may not agree with Lorraine Badoy's manner, her behavior, her tactics in the past with how she's treated and ragtag journalists, but I want to stick to this issue. Isn't this an abuse of power and discretion by the lower house? I mean, what did the two really violate? Number one, when you think about it, the Sotto law is quite clear. Whether or not you agree with our commentary.
Ito kasi two, mga kabatas natin, no? Yung sinasabi niya, the two violated. Hindi naman kasi talaga nag-violate naman si Badoy doon sa isa. Okay? Doon sa hindi pagdadivulge o pagbabanggit ng source, ang nag-violate lang dito ay si Celiz. Okay? Hindi ho si Badoy. Si Badoy, iba ho yung sa kanya. Yung kay Badoy, yung pagsisinungaling. Okay?
It does protect them from revealing their sources. The law is quite clear on that. So what is the basis to detain them for this long?
Well, there is a Sotto law, no, to protect media practitioners. However, there is also colitilia in the Sotto law. It's very clear there in Section 1, only accredited journalists can invoke the Sotto law. In this case, we have found out that Lauren Badoy and Mr. Celiz are not accredited journalists or media practitioners with KBP.
Ito kasi yung issue dyan, mga kabatas natin. No, ang issue dyan, the law did not actually say na you should be accredited by the KBP. Okay? Babasahin natin mamaya yan. Babasahin. Siguro nakikita nyo na kung saan ako papunta. Ano? Otherwise, no, itong kapisanan ng mga broadcasters ng Pilipinas, mga kabatas natin, ito yung argument dyan, ha. If I will take into consideration the argument of Representative Pimentel, si Pimentel, as true, okay, paano yung mga campus journalists? They are also journalists. They also make exposés. Pero these campus journalists, may they be accredited or should they be accredited by the KBP? No, right? So doon nyo nakikita, mga kabatas natin, yung intent ng batas eh. The spirit of the law. You can see it there. Kasi even kunwari, local newspapers in far-flung areas, mga kabatas natin, many of them are not accredited by the KBP. Okay? Hindi sila kasama doon sa kapisanan ng mga broadcasters sa Pilipinas. Does that mean that they are not supported or they are not protected by this law? No. 'Di ba? Hindi. Even the law is silent on that part. Pero we will go there. We will go there and discuss that extensively, mga kabatas natin. We will listen to Pimentel.
In fact, KBP was there.
Ito sabi rin ni GMA ay not accredited ng KBP. Yun nga, sinabi rin sa akin yan. Ito rin. Okay, since binanggit nyo na KBP, we studied KBP also. And KBP is a private entity. Okay?
There, they testified that they are not accredited. So it's very clear in Section 1 of Republic Act number 1467, expanding the coverage of exemptions, nakalagay doon, accredited journalist, writer, reporter, contributor, and there is also an exemption unless the court or the House of Representatives or the Senate or any Congress finds that such revelation is demanded by the security of the state.
Yan, security of the state. So, yun siguro yung pwede nilang pwede nilang ilaban diyan. Pero let's go to the text na. At pag-aralan natin yan, mga kabatas natin, Let's look at the spirit of this. If you will see kasi, it will be absurd if you will interpret this as only applicable to journalists who are accredited by the KBP. Because even this, mga kabatas natin, even this particular law did not mention the kapisanan ng mga broadcasters ng Pilipinas. Okay? O, i-search natin. Wala na. KBP. Wala din. So, it did not mention the KBP here. So, who will accredit? Tignan natin, no? Ito yung amendment kasi. Section 1, without prejudice to his liability under the civil and criminal laws. So ito, titignan nyo kasi mga kabatas natin, you can still be held liable under civil and criminal laws if you violated something that is against the law. Bakit importante kasi itong unang phrase na ito? Bakit importante itong unang phrase na ito? No? Importante itong unang phrase na ito because you can still be liable for cyber libel and other criminal actions against you if you publish something that is against the law. So ano ba yung sinasabi ng batas dito? Okay, wag mong sabihin yung source mo. Walang problema. You cannot be compelled to do it. Pero, even if you don't divulge your source, okay, even if sabihin mo na meron kang source kahit wala, tandaan nyo ito. When it comes to libel or cyber libel, the person who published it can be held liable. So if we will zero in this section 1, this particular amendment, it gives protection actually para lumakas yung loob ng mga tao na magbigay ng impormasyon. That's the spirit of the law. Okay. So tingnan natin kung kanino nag-a-apply ito. Any publisher. Owner or duly recognized or accredited journalist. Pag titignan nyo kasi mga kabatas natin, take note of the use of the word or. Itong accreditation na ito at itong recognition na ito, mga kabatas natin, it may mean to cover journalist, writer, reporter, contributor, opinion writer, editor, columnist, manager, media practitioner. Pwede kasing yun ang problema natin dito eh. Ang problema kasi natin dito, ano ba yung minomodify ng recognized or accredited? Does it modify only the journalist or does it modify all of this? Okay? May ambiguity. So we should look at the spirit of the law. 'Di ba? Kasi hindi mo makikita kung saan yung minomodify niya talaga eh. Kasi nandoon sa unang-una, you can argue that recognized or accredited, it refers only to the journalist. Pero pag titignan mo kasi mga kabatas natin, kasama yung writer, reporter, contributor, opinion writer, editor, columnist, manager, media practitioner involved in the writing, editing, production, and dissemination of news for mass circulation. It did not define the publisher. Who is a publisher? O siyempre, kukunin mo siya in its lay, in its lay meaning, di ba? A person or company that prepares or issues books, journals, music, or other works. Yun yung pangalan ng publisher. Ngayon, with the advent of social media, we can all be publishers. Kasi a publisher is a person or a company that prepares and issues books, journals, music, or other works. Di ba? Kasi ngayon, mga kabatas natin, if you manage a social media, you can easily publish it. You can easily own already. No? Kasi ito, tignan nyo, no? Or Julie, blah, 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 blah. And dissemination of news for mass. Ito kasi, dissemination of news for mass circulation. So, can you be a publisher disseminating news for mass circulation of any print, broadcast, wire service, blah, 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 or electronic mass media? Including cable TV and its variants cannot be compelled to reveal the source of any news item, report, or information appearing or being reported or disseminated through said media, which was related in confidence with the above-mentioned media practitioners unless the court or the House of Representatives or the Senate or any committee of Congress find that such revelation is deemed is demanded by the security of the state. Ito yung security of the state, syempre ito kailangan i-interpret din na naman yan. Pero based on this, mga kabatas natin, I believe, it is my legal opinion that even amateur journalists, even campus journalists are protected by Republic Act number 11458. Tulad nga ng sinasabi ko sa inyo mga kabatas natin, tulad ng sinasabi ko sa inyo, if the interpretation of the House of Representatives, yung kay Pimentel, will be followed, what about campus journalists? Di ba? What about campus journalists? What about campus journalism? So you are not protected, but you are also member of the press. And mga kabatas natin, there is no competitive exam. Wala pong professional exam. Yun, that's the better part, the better term. Wala pong professional exam for you to be a journalist. Di ba? Tignan nyo dito sa sinabi dito. Nagkaroon ng speech kasi noon, nung ito ay pinasa. Ito yung news noong September 25, 2019. Sabi niya, President Rodi Duterte has approved expansions to the Sotto law which allows broadcasts and online journalists to keep their sources confidential under certain conditions.
The President has approved the expanded Sotto law, which allows broadcast and online journalists to keep their sources confidential. That is,
So pag titignan nyo kasi mga kabatas natin, yung accredited, I think, in my opinion, of course, like I said, I always stand corrected. In my opinion, that works only if you work for a particular company. Ibig sabihin, kunwari, dito sa One News, the One News should accredit you. as their journalist. If not, hindi ka kasali. Okay? Kung nire-represent mo yung One News. Okay? Tuloy natin.
Is if Congress or the courts find the news information harmless to national security. The previous law only protects print journalists as their constitutional right to freedom of speech in the country's democratic state. Senate President Tito Sotto thanked the president for approving the amendments to the Sotto law. Sotto said these will ensure that all media workers will provide the public.
Tignan nyo, all media workers. Anong pangalan ng Facebook? Anong pangalan ng YouTube? Social media. So, if you create content, news content, even if you are not affiliated with any news agency that is accredited by KBP, is that media? Diba? Because it's social media, it's still media. Alam nyo rin, lagi kong sinasabi dito na pag meron tayong batas, it will always be interpreted in relation to its applicability to modern times. Diba? Its applicability to modern times. So I think if I will be interpreting it, kasali sila. Diba?
Accurate information without fear of threats from individuals who may be exposed for their wrong deeds. But Foreign Affairs Secretary Teddy Locsin Jr. says, or tweeted, a sarcastic reaction. Locsin hopes that the new Sotto law will end complaints against the president for supposedly attacking press freedom. Even
Yan. Anyway, hindi na issue yan, no? Politika-politika yan noong unang panahon na hindi na applicable ngayon. Balik tayo dito kay Representative Pimentel.
So we were talking about red tagging, we were talking about communist insurgency. It's very clear that it involves the security of the state. And in the course
Wait.
it's very clear that it involves the security of the state, communist state. So we were talking about red tagging, we were talking about communist insurgency.
But it's about the 1.8 billion. Alleged 1.8 billion travel funds of Speaker Martin Romualdez. Red tagging, parang iba. Ito mga kabatas natin, no? Ibig sabihin ba dito pumapanig ako kay Badoy at saka kay Celiz? Yung kay Celiz, we all can see it. It's really disrespect sa tribunal yung ginawa niya, mga kabatas natin. It's really disrespect, no? Pero yung hindi niya pag-divulge ng kanyang source, I think hindi dapat maging dahilan yun. Yung itong pag-detain din sa kanya, itong si Badoy, in my opinion, mga kabatas natin, pwede naman siyang i-detain. Pero, malinis to. Hindi. Kanta na naman yun. Pero, mga kabatas natin, sana nagkaroon pa ng mas malalim na investigasyon at sana pinasagot sila. Diba? Ito sabi ni John Lee, would it mean that Pimentel et al. Doesn't know the law or they know the law and just pinning down SMNI? No, it doesn't mean like that. Like I said, these are scholastic discussions. These are for academic purposes. Kasi hindi naman pwedeng pag meron kang ibang punto, bobo ka na agad. Diba? Hindi naman pwede na parang mali o iba yung opinion nun sa isa, magkasalungat kami, magkasalungat sila, bobo na agad yung isa. Pwede rin naman kasi mga kabatas natin na pareho silang gumagamit ng utak nila kaya ina-argue nila yung punto nila. Di ba? That's the point there. Yun kasi ang hindi magets ng mga Tulfo fanatics eh. And that's why I feel sorry for them. Kasi pag may kumontra doon sa puon nila, pag may kumontra kay Raffy Tulfo, mga kabatas natin, attack agad. Hindi nila tinitignan kung ano yung argument mo. Hindi nila tinitignan kung yung punto mo ba tama o mali. So sinasabi mo ba, bobo ito? Bobo? No, nobody's saying that. Only Raffy Tulfo says that. Diba? Only Raffy Tulfo says that. And if you do it to Raffy Tulfo, galit si Raffy Tulfo. Why? Diba? Just like I said, ang daming abogado dito sa Pilipinas. Iba-iba yung opinion nila dito. Ano ang importante? Explain mo yung opinion mo para people will understand where you're coming from and eventually malalaman. These are methods, no, these particular arguments, these particular discussions will arrive at improving the law or better understanding of the law. Katulad nung aksi. Di ba? It's BATASnatin against the world. Ano nangyari? It exploded. It is a Ponzi scheme after all. Pagkatapos sumabog, hindi na naka-recover. Just as we predicted. Let's go.
It's very clear that it involves the security of the state. And in the course of 2 hearings that we have conducted last November 30 and yesterday, we have established already that they have violated some provisions in their franchise. Actually, it is Suarasug.
Yun siguro yung violation nila dun sa provision sa franchise nila. Tulad nga na sinabi ko sa inyo, syempre, I also have my biases. Everybody has that. Pero as much as possible, I try to be fair. So in this particular discussion, I try to be fair with, in relation to them. Kasi, they're not my favorite people. Pero as much as possible, I try to be fair. Okay? Yan, maraming salamat mga kabatas natin. At syempre, tulad ng lagi kong sinasabi, matulog po tayo na mahimbing dahil alam natin. Sandali. Nakita ko dito. Tama yung sinabi ni Renz dito. That's the true essence of in aid of legislation. Sana nakakuha sila ng gagawin nila dito kasi they need to really make it clear kung sino yung mag-a-accredit doon. Kung ang mag-a-accredit ba yung news agency o yung kapisanan ng mga broadcasters ng Pilipinas. Because, mga kabatas natin, it's ambiguous. Okay? Maraming salamat. Siyempre, tulad laging sinasabi, matulog po tayo na mahimbing dahil alam natin, na natutulog na mahimbing, siya yung laging panalo. Paalam po, pansamantala.